Hey there everyone, welcome back to Gamevine, and my name is David,
Trevor, Chris,
and today we're reviewing a game that is highly out of print called Heroscape. And as you can see, it is a 3D board with painted miniatures. Yes, it comes like this, but because it came like this, it put itself into bankruptcy and is no longer being printed. Now, the game Magic the Gathering, the board game, has tried to innovate this and take the titles that you have right now and make a game out of it. But if you want to go out and buy Heroscape in one or two expansions, it's going to cost you high on the secondhand market. But that doesn't stop us from reviewing it because it is our third favorite game, me and Chris, of all time. And
I think it made it up on Trevor's list, by the way.
I just played today, so that's a lie.
Yeah. But with that being said, we had to give it some love. Now we're going to be reviewing it in its entirety as Heroscape for this video, but we're also going to touch on the very first expansion and start to go over the other expansions as we see fit. Of course, we don't have all of them. If we were to have all of them, we would be bankrupt at this point because
it'd be a much bigger table.
Oh God, the lava and the snow that we don't have, the limited snow that we have, are crazy expensive. So, with that being said, we're going to show you how this is played. And again, keep in mind that this is a collection of Heroscape that's been built over time. So there's going to be pieces that I'm not going to show you, but I'm going to go into the components right now and show you a bit of what we have in Heroscape, but then we're going to show you how to play. What do you guys have to say about that?
Let's do it.
Oh yeah, and Batman was on here, right?
We took Batman.
We took Batman.
Batman's
on.
Batman went back to the Batcave.
Heroscapers, if you go to that site, you can find them there. Alright, let's show you what comes in this box. Okay, so this is Heroscape as a collection. Now, the components portion is going to be a bit different. I'm going to try to stay minorly focused on the first master set that we have here, which is this one right here that comes in this neato box. It's called Rise of the Valkyrie. Now, in a master set, you get a whole bunch of land, different characters, and dice and everything you need to actually start playing. This is the very first one. We're going to keep a minor focus on this, but again, this review is kind of more for a Heroscape as it's in its entirety more of. Now, the first thing that I want to say is Trevor asked me a good question. Why are we reviewing this game if it's highly out of print and super expensive on the secondhand market? Well, the answer that I gave him was simply it is that much fun. And if you're really into board gaming and you have some disposable income, you can get this game easy enough. You can find it. It's just going to cost you a great deal. And or this is something that's really got me into board gaming in the modern sense to start off with. This was my very first kind of little figures and move, roll dice, and attack. Other than the board games like Risk and all that kind of stuff back in the day, this one brought the game with theme to life. Now again, the theme is just multi-dimensional. Things from different dimensions are coming in. The samurais and the swamp creature things and dragons and Marvel heroes, and the game kept going until it went to D&D. Then it stopped. The cool thing about Heroscape, though, is that it is highly customizable. As long as you have a bunch of terrain, you can find trees and stuff like I did here and glue that terrain onto the hex, and it's going to fit in easily. I did that with the trees here, and I also did it with there we go. We have the DC heroes because I had Marvel, but I didn't have DC, so I made some cards and I made the figures out of toys that I found, and that is one of the beautiful things about Heroscape. So let me show the components briefly of what you get in the first master set, and this is going to be consistent with most master sets. You get the white dice that you're going to be attacking and defending with, defense shield, and the skull attack, and blank size. You get the 20-sided dice here, not that many, to roll for initiative. Then you go on to the hit counters, which are here. You can keep track of life, and these little shields that go from 1, 2, 3, and they have X. I'll explain why it had X a little later. And then you get the character cards. You get a smattering of things in the first set. The dragon comes in that, and some of the Marrow characters, some robots, different things, no Marvel things. But you get these cards, and the characters are set up like so. You have their move, range, attack, defense, and points that they cost. Over here you have their race and their unique squad or hero, and I'll get into why that's important later. And their height, this depends on how high they can jump up on these levels, because with this terrain you can build it up. I'm going to get into that a little more in a second, but you get the character cards there. And then you get a whole bunch of terrain. Now the first set gives you the most terrain, and it gives you a lot of this grass and the dirt and or desert, which you see right over here. I don't know, yeah, it's right, it's kind of tan. You get a few other things, but 24 hex, 3 hex, 1 hex. There's this kind of weird thing here. There's a 8 hex here, and there is a 2 hex. And as you can see, it stacks on the top here relatively easy, and it goes together kind of like Legos, like I've said in the past. Sticks pretty well, but comes apart easy enough. And the flat hexes here, this is a shadow. I'm not going to get into that. That's in the D&D set, but it comes with water in the first set. Now this is sparkly water. This comes in the first master set that's revised. This is the muted water. This was the one that was the original. I don't know why they made the sparkly. I don't know if you can pick that up, but you can add things to this sparkly water and say it heals you. Who cares? But you can do stuff like that in Heroscape. The other thing that was different is the attack dice. They, instead of having these white ones that have both emblems, they went with 2 different color dice. The defense dice that just have these shields on 2 different sides and blank on 4, and the red dice that have attack on 3 different sides and blank on the other 3. And I don't know why they did that. I prefer these color dice though, but that's just me. So those are really all the components in Heroscape for the master set. You get big characters like this, the double base, and or smaller characters and or heroes with a smaller base that can go on each hex, and that is basically it. You see the other stuff here, like the snow and the concrete, the asphalt is this dark one, and the cement. Those don't have any special abilities. They're there just for eye candy, really. But stuff like the jungle pieces here, they will give you +1 to your defense. I'm not going to go over that because that's an expansion. And the water, if you ever move onto water, you have to stop your turn, and it takes more to tread through water. The other thing that I didn't go over are the glyphs here. These are special things that give plus to your defense, attack, special things like that. But you actually have to put characters on top of them, which I'm going to go over in a second in the how-to portion of the video. So before I show you how to play, the one other thing that I would say is a kind of thing that is a hindrance on Heroscape is the storage. The box, as you've seen, is a flappy box. It opens from the side, so you just don't want to just cram the characters and the terrain into the box all willy-nilly. I mean, you can't, even if you try. So I contain the heroes in these little kind of tackle bead boxes. You can find these at Walmart or any hobby shop. I got this idea from other reviewers and other people. I also had help finding out that these Tupperware bins are good for storing the terrain, because this stuff is durable, super durable. Yes, this is a geeky toy, and yes, you're probably going to get made fun of if people see you playing with these crazy toys, but maybe not. Look how visually appealing this game is. So now you see what Heroscape has to offer. Let me show you what the gameplay has to offer. Let's go. Alright, to start the advanced game, because that's the one you're going to play, not the basic. The basic is just everything that I'm going to explain without the abilities. You'll want the abilities. So you're going to set a army kind of pool of points, say 750, and then this is what you're going to be spending them on. 120 points to the 750 that you have on your army. And there are single heroes that are going to cost a pretty penny, and there are squads that might cost a little less, and they come with multiple characters. They're going to be a little weaker than the heroes or the single characters or even the giant characters like the dragon here, but they're going to get to all move 4 and all attack and defend as well. So let's go after the point of picking all your army. Let's say that you've done that. You will build your map. There are maps that I'm going to show you right here on heroscapers.com that people have customly built, and or you can use the scenarios that are displayed in the rulebook that you get. So there are different ways you can play Heroscape. You can just do whatever you want and make a board like we did here, or follow a script. There are different things you can play, like capture the flag or last man standing. It's really what you want to do in that given time, which is one of the beautiful things about Heroscape. So you have your army. Let's say that we're just trying to take everyone out in a no holds barred kind of match. You get to do this on your turn. To start everybody's turn, though, you roll the initiative dice. Let's say in a two-player game here, you can go up to more if you want. That's not really said in a rule book, but it's easy enough done. The person with the highest initiative will go first. On your turn, though, when you've picked your army, you're going to have these cards set out in front of you, and you're going to have those shields that I showed you before at your disposal, the ones that have 1, 2, 3, and X on it. And you're going to place them on your characters that you want to activate. On your turn, you're going to be moving and then attacking. You don't have to move and you don't have to attack, but that's what you can do. Now you're going to be putting either multiple numbers on the same character, or if you have multiple characters like 5, you can put 1 on each. The number 1, of course, means you're going to be activating that character first, then the second player will activate their 1, and then you'll activate your 2, so forth, back and forth like that. The X is just a red herring. This is put onto the card to say, okay, I might be moving this character. But it does nothing. So you're going to do that before you roll initiative, and once you've done that and established initiative, you go with your first move. So let's say that we are moving these samurai right here, and we're going to try to attack this dragon. The samurai have 5 moves. This one right here will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now going down, you never have to add onto your move, but let's say this guy was right here. When you ascend a hex, you have to do +1 to your move. So if he has 5, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But let's say he gets right down here, and then this guy would move 1, 2, 3, 4, and he can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 if he really wanted to. Now let's say this samurai is right here, that samurai is right here, and they have a range of 2. Now a range is how many hex that you can hit. Now you'll just count in any direction, going like 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4. As long as you can see the character, you can hit them. So the cards have this little red person right here, and if it's red and you can see that portion, that means you can hit them. Line of sight is easy. You go from the dot that it says on the card, and you look down, and if you can see them, you can hit them. So these 2 samurais, I think, well, this one samurai can hit him because he has a range of 2, 1, 2, can't reach him, but this guy can go 1, 2, he can hit the dragon. Now he has an attack of 3, but he also has an ability that says if multiple samurais are hitting him, something like that, then you will add to your attack dice +1, +2, so forth on multiple samurais. But let's just say that he's attacking for his 3 attack dice. He's going to roll these right here, saying committing that he's attacking the dragon, and any emblems that roll skulls, that means he hit. The dragon, I don't know how this card here, but let's say he has a defense of 5. He'll take 5 of these blue dice or the white dice and try to roll shields. Now, he only rolled 1 shield, so that means he'll be taking 1 damage. He'll put one of these markers on his card, and that indicates how much life he has left, because some characters have more life, like the dragon. But if it's his last one, he'll be taken off of the board and removed from play. The one thing I did not mention, though, that is this samurai is elevated. So if he's at least elevated 1 when he's attacking this dragon, he'll get +1 to his attack dice. So he would have rolled another one here, but he wouldn't converted on that, but as something to keep in mind, if the dragon was up here, he would get +1 to his defense. And the game is really that simple. You'll continue to do this process until whatever the end goal is met and somebody is declared the winner. The advanced things that I want to tell you about is if the hexes are higher than the character, let's say that this one's right here and this one's right here, this character would not be able to climb this because it's too high if he were to move. So not even if he had the enough moves, he wouldn't be able to jump on here. He would have to find another way to get up there. And or if he was falling from this height, taller than him, he would have to roll the 20-sided dice to take some kind of caution and see if he either gets hurt or dies, because if it's 10 or higher, there's no way that he can do it without dying. Heroes and flying characters, they have different abilities like that that help them from dying when they jump high and or fall from high as well. Oh, and when you're moving these double base characters, they are a lot stronger most of the time than these single base characters here, but they balance them out in the way that they can move. So they have to fit where they are going, and you just leave the the front one from where you left, and that's how you count your moves. But if they can't fit, let's say if this is just one hex, so one higher and one lower, this isn't possible. But he can go up here. But if he can't like fit through a place, he can't go there. So there's something to keep in mind. He is limited. The other thing about moving, you have to move on the glyph here with either one of your squads or a hero to get the benefits, and they have to stay on it. And other things to keep in mind with attacking, if you are elevated and you use a special ability, the elevation bonus doesn't come into play. You just roll like it's if his attack is, he gets 4 dice on a dragon's breath to attack a squad, and he's elevated, he doesn't get a 5th one. But if he uses his regular attack, as you can see on the card here, like 2 dice, he would get 1+ dice to that attack. So that is really what Heroscape is all about. There are different things with terrain. There's lava. If you jump on lava and you roll a 20-sided dice and you don't roll a 20, you die. A water, you have to stop when you actually move into it. And snow, you can make up different things. And this piece right here, again, I'll go into when we go into that expansion, but that is an actual piece, along with this cool piece right here that is destructible from the Marvel set, but we'll get into that a little later as well. But that's it. Heroscape in a nutshell. Never play the basic, always play with the special abilities, because that is where a lot of the charm in the game is. Now we're going to tell you what we actually think about this game and give you our thoughts, and keep in mind that this is as Heroscape as a whole. The next video is really going to be hyper focused on the second expansion, the Master Set, where it comes into play with the swamp bits. So now let's tell you what we think and give this game a grade. Let's go. So that is how you play Heroscape, generally. Of course, there are things that I'm going to leave out. Again, we're trying to review this game in its entirety, but also trying to keep it simple enough that we are just reviewing the first expansion. So let's get on with that, with my opinion. Now, I'm going to be grading this game with a percentage and or a letter, and I gave this one a 93%, which is a low A. And the only thing that keeps this game from being 100% in my book, again, this is my 3rd favorite game of all time, is the setup and teardown time. This takes forever to set up, and especially if you want your whole crew to have a part in it, which I think is part of the experience. It's kind of Lego-ish in that sense, and or when you're breaking it down, it doesn't really come apart as well as I would like it to, but those are the minor quibbles that kept it from being 100% in my book. Well,
and we didn't even build like that complex of a scape here.
Yeah, you can. This is just what we put together in about an hour.
We still have pieces left.
Yeah, we have a ton of pieces. If you go to heroscapers.com, that is a site where people are still making custom sets like DC or Pokemon that didn't come out for the original set. They also have setups for different arrangements that you can make, like mountains, lava, kind of. Yeah, scenarios basically, because that's what this game is all about. Totally customizable. As you can see, these trees here, I made these myself. I have also made that one right there, and
this game kind of advocates that, and especially because it's out of print. But I like the way that it is streamlined. The advanced game is the only way that I would play. I would never play the basic game because it's too simple. But with my kid, I might. It might be a good start gateway process into this game. This takes Warhammer and makes it simplified for people. The line of sight is really nice. I like how it's done there. I like the movement. You don't have to second guess where you're going to move with the kind of tape measure. It takes all the miniature games that you've played in the past and makes them a bit lighter, which in my book is a plus. I can't say much more about this game other than I like the way that it just presents itself, and it is my top 3 in games of all time. So 92% is what I settled on. I could talk even more about this game, but I'm going to relinquish the conversation to one of these two. The first one to touch my hand.
I'm gonna go try.
He touched my hand
there
first.
You go. Considering this was his first time playing.
Yes, this is his first time, so that is some insight into this game. So, what do you think?
I was a Heroscape virgin. I really like this game. Just right out of the gate, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. Aesthetics are awesome. I mean, you can't... in my opinion, I haven't encountered a game yet, which I haven't played a lot of miniature games, so I should probably say that as kind of a caveat there. But I haven't played a game with aesthetics as pleasing as this game has.
Right.
So
yeah, I'm with you.
And that being said, I came up as a Risk guy. That's kind of how I got my introduction into hardcore gaming. There are elements of this that made me think of Risk. I mean, you have very specific technically boundaries because you have each individual space. So you have that movement of trying to move your pieces, and then you're also rolling against each other. So there's on a very basic level, it kind of reminds me of Risk, although it looks way cooler, and especially like you said with the advanced version, it's so much fun. I think if anything, if I had to make a comparison to Risk, because I like to do that a lot with games, especially games like these where I can make that comparison, the advanced version is like a lot of the variants that have come out of Risk, and the basic version is probably more like basic Risk. There's just not a lot of fun to it. You're just kind of bashing heads, rolling dice, and that's it.
The thing about this game is you can do like capture the flag instead of one man take all like we did. It's so vast. You can do whatever you want with this game. So.
It's really fun, and as a Heroscape virgin, I will say I still had fun, even though I kind of had a poor choice of characters because I picked 2 heroes and one squad that all played off of people of like the same race as them, and I didn't have anyone of the same race of all 3 of them.
And this is a selection over the mass of Heroscape instead of like just a portion, which normally that wouldn't be a problem.
Right.
But yeah.
So that being said, even though I probably didn't have the best picks as far as how I used my points in the beginning. Well, I did,
totally
but it was still a really fun game. I love looking at it. It's so cool, and the abilities just give so much variable to the game. Really fun game, and I hope I can get you guys to play it again soon.
Oh, it's not going to be a problem.
It's going to happen.
Yeah, go ahead, Chris. What do you think?
So for me, I'm going to go 10. This is a 10 for me.
Wow.
Oh, the big 1-0.
I don't think that's happened on this channel.
No, not yet. Yeah, it's a 10. The pieces are amazing. Like just the way everything looks.
Time? Doesn't that take away from it though?
No, the setup time and teardown time does suck.
It.
I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
But it's still fun to do.
Yeah.
Like just to set this up how you want. You know, there's so much more we could have done with this.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We could have done anything. We could have built it up and had a bridge. Had more mountain type area. Just there's anything that you can think of. That's the way.
As long as you have the pieces.
Yeah, as long as you have the pieces, you can do it. And like the art, just the artwork and everything on here is amazing. The artwork on the cards, and really, there's not much. To be honest, the artwork on the cards really wasn't anything but like a picture. They took a picture of the piece, which was great because when you pick your pieces, you just match it up.
Yeah,
so
you have to know what to look for.
Right, on your card, this is exactly what it's going to look like.
Which would be a problem if you have a whole bunch like we do.
Right, we do it in doubles and everything.
Yeah.
And like Trevor was saying earlier, like each piece of land really, I think, has a different ability or a different type of things to go by.
Right.
I mean, you don't have to always follow that, but it just gives it a little bit more variety.
Yeah.
And I just think this game is pretty awesome.
Well, I think I kind of agree with you in that I understand what you're saying as far as it taking away from the game for the setup time.
Sure.
But I think I guess it depends. If you've played this game a
Multiple
million
times.
times,
Right.
it probably would wear on you.
That's my
But in a way, like
perspective.
you said, it's kind of has like a Lego feel to
Yeah.
it. So it's like you're building the environment
Right.
you're playing in, and if that's something you enjoy, especially if you're just into model anything, like if you're into building models, I mean, stuff like that, you probably love doing.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, this type of building this environment.
Yep.
Yeah.
And see, that's the other thing too. This whole setup you guys see right now, next time we play, it won't even look like this.
No, this is
Something
all
totally different.
improvised.
But like you said, you did say there were scenarios. You could set
Right.
it up exactly.
The book
as
shows
the
you.
book.
Mhm.
You know, you can set up specific. And I don't think is this actually more than a 2-player game, or is this made for just
It's
player versus
it's
player.
a player versus player and team versus team. So you can do 4v4 or 2v4.
but it's
2.
really made for versus.
But again,
But I like the way we did it.
If you have enough stuff, you can do this type of thing
Yeah.
with like
Yeah.
3 players, and just what we did with Trevor here being the 1st
Mm-hmm.
player of this game, where you just do every man for himself, and it really it opens it up for
Right.
that kind of customization. And that's
Yeah.
one person said it the best, Chaz Marler, and Heroscape is the duct tape of the board game world, because you can do basically anything.
Anything.
You
Yeah.
can add this to different games.
Yeah.
You can do different stuff with this. It really does just adhere itself to
Right.
any game that you possibly have.
You know what? Another thing I like, and and you can touch on this later, but the idea of the game, like why these characters are here.
Right? Yeah, I was
is,
just going to say that.
You can have any characters. There's
Yeah.
you go from angels to World War II soldiers,
The
to
robots, the
I mean, you
samurai.
just have
The,
anything.
the theme I didn't hit on is there's a wizard that brought all
Right.
these people in here, and there's 2 wizards, and they're going against each other to see who is the best spellcaster. It's very veneer thin,
Yeah.
but it
Well,
does it keeps
Introduces like
Yeah.
more any kind of character you can think
anything.
of.
And if this were to keep going,
Like, what are those
man,
guys over there? I don't even know what those are.
they're just swamp things.
Yeah.
But it could be greater if it were to continue to go. But it
There's
stops.
so much more they could do.
And now Magic the Gathering board game has picked it up slightly, not too much, but enough to take your old terrain to add to their actual
So they're
game.
new game, yeah.
Now, since we've talked about Heroscape, you know what we think. I'm going to just kind of segue into the first expansion. The first expansion that we have, I'm showing a picture right here. This gives you the most land. When they first started, they didn't know how much it would cost for them to actually make this game, so that's
Right.
why I think they put so much of their components in this first expansion. What you got is this this dragon here, some of these swamp people, and a few other things, the Valkyrie,
A lot
and,
of the Greenland.
and a lot of green land, some dirt, not nearly as much as this. And again, if you don't have enough land, your imagination might be limited. That's why a lot of people like to gather multiple sets, copies of multiple sets. But the first one I want to go over, I think does a good job into introducing you
Yes.
to the world of Heroscape. Progressively, it does get kind of harder to kind of, merge that gap between getting into a new game and or provide enough components. But if you do want to start Heroscape and you see this first set for a decent price,
Right.
I can't recommend
Snatch
it
it
enough.
up,
right.
I've gotten 3 because it does have the most land. It does have some cool characters, not what I'm specifically after.
Right.
Land is really what you want in Heroscape. So that, I would say, it gets about a 92 or 93. 94 for me. The first expansion.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have anything to say on that. You guys kind of played it as a whole.
Yeah.
And would you say that you want to give a grade to the first expansion?
No, I mean, the first is just where to start. I mean, that's
Yeah,
the
that's
way
a
to go.
good
I mean, that
starter
was a
point
great
for you.
yeah.
I mean,
it gave you
yeah,
plenty of,
no,
gave you
I-
plenty of everything.
Mm.
Yeah, I would say the same. I don't think that would have. I don't think my score would have gone up or down. Again, I like the concept of the game. I like the aesthetics, and I think, regardless of what I had, I think I would have enjoyed it about the same.
Gotcha.
I remember when this game was coming out, me and Dave,
Mhm.
we were specifically looking for certain things that came out.
Right.
Like I remember when the an expansion that I'm sure we'll talk about later.
Oh yeah,
but-
the jungle set.
yeah, the jungle set. We were looking for that specifically.
And it has these palm trees, which they are highly desirable right now. Really hard to keep these things in mint condition, and I think that's the reason why.
Yeah.
But we'll touch on that
Yeah.
a little later. So that is what we think about Heroscape. With high praise from the game buying crew. For me personally, I can't drool over this game enough, honestly. So until the next time that we see you, I've been Dave.
Trevor.
Chris.
Have a great rest of your day and a great time with all the Heroscape that you play. Trust me, it's going to be hard to get, but if you have the money, it's
Do it.
so
Totally
worth
do it.
So, have a great rest of your day, everybody. Bye.
Bing bang boom. Oh, the dragon said it.